And let me know what kind of tea you're drinking if you're drinking tea tonight. I am drinking, actually, I'm just doing green. Okay, it's not an acronym, just CYC, like YMCA. Okay, the nonprofit. Okay, and okay, there we go. CYC. I like that better than what I was trying to say. I see other people coming in. I cannot see you. I can only see numbers. So please type your name in the chat and welcome to Topics, Tantrums, and Tea. It's good to see you tonight. Hopefully you're having a wonderful week. And I hope that this platform gives you a place to kind of wind down a little bit, just kind of wind down a little bit. Please do me a favor and share the link while we're waiting for others to come on in the room. We'll get started in about 4 or 5 minutes. So if you still need to get your tea, you can do that. If you need to pour a little something in your tea, you can do that too. And we will get started right about 10, 11. We'll give people a few more minutes, but not too much longer, not too much longer. And we'll get started. I am doing green tonight. I was gonna do green mango, but mango green, but I am doing green tonight. I see a message coming in. You all, let me catch that real quick. Let's see. That message is from Miss Vita. Okay, hopefully it gets her in. Welcome to 3T. Please type in the chat where you coming from, your name, and where you are hailing from tonight. I should type where I'm hailing from because I didn't say. So, and I'm hailing from Yaktown, baby. Yaktown, baby. What's going on in Chicago? Sonny, let me know. Let me know. What's going on in the Windy City? Has your weather changed yet? I mean, what is it cold yet? It has been a little, kind of little nippy here. But what's interesting is I see you all coming in. Can I see your name? Welcome to 3T. Welcome to 3T. Welcome to 3T. Please type your name in the chat and let us know what city or town, village, or basement you're hailing from. Let us know. Let us know in the chat, please. Life Her Way. I think I know who that is. That is Miss Vita Copeland, I do believe. She said the comment section finally appeared. Oh, you didn't get it before now. I'm sorry. Well, thank you. I'm not sure what the holdup is on that. Thank you for coming by tonight. Good to see you all. Please do me a favor and share the link. Share the link. Let's get some more people in the room. Although I'm glad that you're here. But please help me to build the platform by sharing the link. I am drinking I'm drinking green tea tonight. It should have been mango green, but I'm drinking green tea. And in case you didn't know, there are a lot of properties with green tea. Now, I can't remember all of them because I added something else to my green tea. But I'm going to read them off to you right now so that you know why what the benefits are of green tea. And there are a lot of benefits. I can tell you off the top of my head that one is definitely that it is known to help regulate the blood pressure. One, also to regulate diabetic levels. So here's another. Let me read this off. That's too much in that. Okay, let me go to this one right here. 10 evidence-based benefits of green tea. Okay, improves brain function. Lord knows I need that. Fat loss. That would include pandemic weight. It could protect against cancer. It's good for lowering heart disease. And that's good to start. So that's green tea, and that is what I'm drinking tonight. So please let us know what kind of tea you're drinking tonight or what your tea suggestions are. Because what we do know from this, one thing that we've learned from the PLANdemic, SHAMdemic, is that we must take into our own hands the responsibility of our own health. because there's so much going on and so much that we cannot trust. If there's anything that we can do to boost our immune systems, damn it, we need to be doing it, right? Okay, so let me read some stuff right here. Life Her Way said elderberry tea with lemon. Elderberry tea with lemon. That sounds good. Let me know, Vito, if you off the top of your head. I don't want you to have to do any research right now if you don't, but let us know what the benefits of elderberry tea with lemon is. I know that lemon is a diuretic for sure. I know that it also is good for regulating diabetic levels and high cholesterol, for helping to combat high cholesterol. She said, and honey. So elderberry tea with lemon and honey, that sounds good. So if you know anything other than what I know, please type it in the chat. So that's elderberry tea with lemon. Sonny, I know you do a lot of a lot of tea too. So what kind of tea you drinking tonight, or what would you suggest? In terms of anything that you know would help to build our immune systems, because I have made it a regular thing. I'm drinking tea every day, 3 and 4 times a day, and that wasn't my typical. But there's so much going on now. I'm drinking some kind of tea 3 and 4 times a day. And it is 10:11, so we're going to go ahead and get started. So listen, still you are welcome to add your stuff to the chat, your suggestions or your recipes, because some of you are making tea from scratch, in which case we'd love to hear about that too, right? So let's get right on into it. So here we go. So the topic, let me ask you this one last time before I get started. Can you all, because I asked Sonny this at least 8 times. He hasn't answered my question. Can you hear my music? Yes or no? Because I don't need you to hear it. I don't want any issues when I get ready to post my video. Let me know if you can hear my music. Yes, well, Y for yes and N for no. She said she can hear it. See, thank you. That's what I needed to know. Because when I get ready to post, they'll tell me that they heard something that I don't own. What about now? Life Her Way. Can you hear it now? I just turned it down. Let me know if you hear it now. Let me know if you can hear the music. And meanwhile, while she's working on that, I'm going to go ahead and get started. So our issue is, the first topic is the PLANdemic, or the SHAMdemic. And the reason I said that, of course, you already know. We don't know if this thing is, let me reiterate what I said last week. I believe that there is a strain of something that they have that our government has labeled COVID-19, right? I believe that's the case. And I do believe that strain of whatever COVID-19 is, or whatever it actually is, I believe that it is doing some harm that we have never seen before. I do believe that this strain of virus or whatever it is something that we've never seen, and therefore it's doing something that we've never seen before. I believe that. At the same time, I believe that COVID-19 is also I also believe that it is a boogeyman. I believe that they are pinning a lot of stuff on COVID-19 that is not COVID-19. That is my personal belief. I don't believe that everybody who is dying from COVID-19. And I'm sure you all have been in conversations like this, have been in discussions like this. I just don't believe that. I do believe that there are some that are, but I also believe that they are attaching anything that they want to COVID-19, because nobody can check them if they do. So I do believe that they are allowing people to expire that they don't want to deal with no more. And so that's one of the reasons that we hear, if you have any pre-existing conditions, you almost can, you can look at, you better not get sick, because you will be the first to go. I do believe that those of us who they want to expire, that they're using COVID-19 in order to allow us to expire. So I don't believe everybody's dying from COVID-19. So I'm saying that to say, does it exist? I believe it exists. I don't believe everything everybody's dying from is COVID-19. Millie says, well, for an extra $13K per person, I'd attach COVID-19 to it too. Exactly. So, and that's where the term SHAMdemic comes in, or PLANdemic comes in, right? Because I just believe that there's more to it than, than we're hearing, of course. And you all let me know what you think. I would love to know what you think. While you are considering that, while you are considering or responding to that, I want to say this about the pandemic. Now I'm just going to go there, the pandemic. Regardless of what it is, whether it is a real pandemic fully, whether it is a PLANdemic, whether it is a SHAMdemic, it doesn't matter. Whatever it is, we are stuck in the middle of this shit. And I do know that as long as it's been, and even though we cannot see the light at the end of the tunnel, at some point, it is going to lift. All of this is going to lift. And all of this lifts, everybody's going to need an exit strategy. I don't believe, and you all please tell me your thoughts. And I'm gonna stop at any time and read some comments. So at any time you get some, just let me know. But I just don't. When this is lifted, however, whatever that looks like, because we don't know. What I don't believe is that we'll return to life as we once knew it in many, many ways. So one instance, one example is the whole school system thing. I had this conversation with somebody a while ago. I never believed that we were going to return to school in the way that we expect to return to school. Now, if we do return like that, it goes back to what it looked like 2 years ago, I would just really be surprised. Because from my time of this is even before the pandemic, right? I taught a year at K12.com. And when I taught that year at K12.com, I thought to myself, this is so easy in comparison to running a brick and mortar with people, right? And when I say that, I'm talking about in terms of having to be responsible for the safety of those people, insurance for those people that teach the children, and having to be responsible for people's kids and getting kids back and forth to school, and making sure that you can get your teachers trained, and all of that stuff that comes with being in a brick and mortar, right? Of course, they got to be trained anyway, but they got to be trained to deal with them face to face, right? There's a lot that goes into that. Building infrastructure, maintenance, and all of that stuff, right? That 1 year at K12.com, I thought, I don't know. And I had a discussion with a couple people. I said, I'm not sure when or how they're going to do it, but this K12.com thing, this going to school online is so easy in comparison to going to brick and mortar. I just think that at some point, this is going to be cut out. It just makes too much sense. It will save too much money, and so on and so forth, right? Then a pandemic came, and that's exactly what happened. When they took the kids out last year at the end of the year, I thought if they stay out more than a month, I can't see them going back. Because my thought was, why would they? They would say, well, y'all done figured it out now. So why bring them all back to the same place so that we have to deal with all of that other stuff that we didn't have to deal with before? You understand what I'm saying? So that's one example. And I'm sure that we could talk about many, and you all want to talk about one in particular or some in particular, put that in the chat, and I'll be more than willing to address that, or we can talk about that. But things like that, I just don't think we could ever return to it. Church as we knew it. I don't know that we'll return to church as we knew it. For one, because again, I think it'll be a long time before people can actually come together and not be concerned or worried at all about getting something from somebody, right? I think it'll be a long time before that happens. In addition to that, since we've been out and away from those types of gatherings, do you know how much shit done come out about these ministers and the shit that's going on in the church, in the churches? Y'all already know. There's so much stuff going on in the churches that have come out since the pandemic, right? Or prior to, real close to the pandemic, that people have time. They have time to sit on their arses or sit back on our laurels and think about what we've seen or what we heard or what's going on. Millicent said, that's bull. Tell me what's bull, Millicent. Tell me what's bull. So I just don't know that. I just don't believe that we're going to go back to that extent, because I think that people probably would, in many ways, have found another way, another spiritual way of being. Does that, if that makes sense? Okay, explain bull to me, Millicent. Life Her Way says, I said a long time ago, with all the problem students in schools, shootings that school is going to have to change. And see, I didn't even think about that part of it. Absolutely. Absolutely. You were absolutely right. That probably should have been the first reason they was like, look, y'all go home. Because your mom and them can do better than we can. We can't keep you safe. You're right about that. You're absolutely right about that, Vita. So there's another example. There's another reason that it would be better for and a more economical and more safe for people to stay where they are. Okay, Millicent, she's explaining her that's bull. She said the pastor's been having shit going on. Okay, she didn't say shit. I'm saying shit. You're right. You're right. But I do think this though, Millicent, you know how it's hard to see exactly what's going on or how much. Put it like this. Perfect example. Perfect example. You know how you can be running through your house, you know, and you're a working woman and you're a working man, and you going in and out every day, and you working, taking care of your business. And because you're moving and you're going and you're coming and you're going and you're coming all the time, you don't realize how junky your house is. But you don't, because you're busy. You're running, you already there. You're running and doing your own thing, right? Taking care of business. When you hit the house, you fall out, clap. So when you get up running. You grab something to eat, you keep going. But if your ass end up getting sick, or you got to stay home from work or for whatever reason, and you got a day in your house and you sitting, you start looking around like, oh my God, who live here? This shit is atrocious. I think that's the same way it has been for people that were in church, going and coming, taking care of business. Church was their religious thing to do. But being home, not being able to go, people got a chance to relax and sit back and see things that they may not have seen because they were too busy moving around. You understand what I'm saying? Okay, let me read some stuff. Melissa said, them pastors have been having stuff, of course. And then Vita said, church as we once knew it is over. People are experimenting other ways to connect with God. I agree with that. You see everything. Right. Vita, I agree with that. People are experiencing other ways. I honestly believe that. So again, that's another institution that I don't think we'll ever return to like that, right? So with that being said, and again, you all, anything you want to add, you can. That being said, I was just sitting thinking this week. Millicent said, oh, we know public church apologies and all. Absolutely. So considering that, we are in a place, and all over the world, right? But I can only speak specifically to what's going on in the U.S. I hear about things that are going on other places, but I do know that we are in the middle of a shit show. We know that, right? So I do think that our position is a lot different than anybody else, because we have an idiot at the helm, right? So we are in a place where we are in many ways powerless, just kind of like sitting ducks waiting for somebody to blow that kazoo, because we're sitting ducks. But I also think that since we are, this kind of time can be a reset time as well. It can be a time for us to reorder, right? Because we got time to do it. We've got time to reorder our lives, what we haven't had before. You all do me a favor, please, and share the stream, if you will. Help me build the platform. I am very thankful. When we started off this show, I think I started with 60 subscribers, I think. And we were at 400 and something right now. So I'm very thankful. And a couple of the videos have more than 1,000. One of them I think two of them have more than 2,000 views. So Thank you for sharing. Y'all been doing a damn thing. Please help me to continue to share the platform. So we are in a place that I think is very critical. I do think so. So there's two things. Vita said reset. That is the exact word of the year. Reset. Absolutely reset. But I do not think, and right now I'm talking specifically about people in the Black community. A lot of times we are not aware, and this is going to kind of bring both of the topic and the tantrum together. I don't think that oftentimes we are aware enough about what's going on in our environment to make major changes and to move preemptively, to move as opposed to being reactive to stuff that's going on. We're not living life. Life is living us because we're always behind the eight ball, always the last one at the table because we're not paying enough attention to what's going on around us. That's my personal belief, right? And so I think this is what I do know. People, groups have always capitalized on disaster. And right now, I think that we're in a situation that is disastrous for a lot of people for a lot of reasons, whether it be death, whether it be the loss of your home, or the loss of your business, or the loss of a relationship. We are in a time where things are they're iffy. They're iffy. They can crumble at a moment's whim if we're not careful, right? Because we cannot control a lot of what's going on. But at the same time, it's these kind of situations where where those who are paying attention, those who are alert, make the best of them. But that's not usually us. So what I want to talk about in particular is, what are you doing? How are you, in what ways are you taking advantage of the current situation? Because none of us can control it. But if we're aware and alert, we can take advantage of the mayhem, right? So what are you doing personally? Let me ask you that. And you all, please, if you can answer in the chat, please do so. If not, think about it. That's something we can revisit later. But is there anything in your life that you're doing different in reference to taking advantage of this particular place in our lives that we shall never forget? That when we are older, a lot older, and have grandchildren and great-grandchildren, if we are still around, we can say, oh, I remember the pandemic. I remember. What are we doing in this particular time? Is there anything in particular that you're doing that is going to set you on a better road, put you in a better place than you are now? Is there a way that you can capitalize on the current situation that we all find ourselves in? Okay, Vita said, I decided to become an entrepreneur during the pandemic. That's what I'm talking about. Vita decided to become an entrepreneur during the pandemic. Vita, why did you decide to become an entrepreneur? Tell me that. Why did you decide to become an entrepreneur? And what kind of entrepreneur are you? Please. Okay, and then Millicent said, I'm spending more time with my children. Me too. And paying off my debts. I will not continue to owe people so that my time is my own. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about. How did you come to that, Millicent? I mean, I know that you work in that area. But you can find, it ain't hard to find beauticians with crappy heads. That ain't hard to find. So how did you come to that? What made you say, okay, this is it? I'm doing this instead. You all, please do me a favor and share the stream. And thank you again for being here. I appreciate you. And while you all are getting your thoughts together, I'm gonna tell you what I have done. My husband and I sat down and talked about the fact that we really needed to talk about retirement more so than anything else. With all the running and the ripping and running that we were doing, we weren't really planning for retirement in any way. We were just kind of, living for the day. And it was during this time when we were sitting down, in the house together, almost because we had to be, that we began to talk and pray about some things that we needed to do coming out of this pandemic that would help us be in a better place in terms of retirement. Because none of us, well, at least in my household, we ain't young no more. And so we had to start talking about we had to start putting things in place, not just talking about retirement, but actually putting things in place so that we can retire, right, successfully. Okay, let me read some of this. Okay, Millicent said, I'm talking with my daughter. I realized in 47 months, I think you told me something about this. In 47 months, my children will be making decisions for themselves. Time is fleeting, but money and work is not. That is really good. You know, that the fact that you're quantifying that, that's the kind of stuff too. For me personally, I kind of get away from numbers. We start talking about detail, I'm like, I don't want to get into that. But I realize that it's quantifying this information, and these steps are going to be necessary for me to be as effective as I want to be. So I'm really paying attention to what you just said. Okay, and Vita said, I couldn't make another excuse not to start with all the time on my hand. Wow. I wanted to help women tap into their sexual health and wellness. And Vita does pure romance. She does pure romance. Millicent said, I love what I do and I work forever. However, I think I will too, Millicent. I work forever. However, what I am working for is not the two people I love the most. Wait, let me read that again. I love what I do and I work forever. However, what I am working for, if not the two people I love the most. Corey said, I have been more intentional about achieving my dreams, doing things for myself, focusing on my self-care, actually taking time for myself without explanation and guilt. Oh, that's good. She said, taking time for herself without explanation or guilt. That is really good, Corey. And what stopped me there is I know that as women, a lot of times we're taking care of everybody else and we're not taking care of ourselves, which is why the reason that Vita went into life her way. We're taking care of everybody but us, and especially Black women. And I do it too in terms of being guilty. With my children, a lot of times I know that I know beyond a shadow of a doubt, there's nobody can tell me otherwise. I know that I'm a good mother. I know that if they get on side of 14 of their friends, none of them could stack up to the kind of mother I am. I already know that. But let one of them say something off kilter and to make me feel like, okay, well, maybe I should do so and so. So I get it. Millicent said, I love it. My word for 2020 has been no. Yeah, it's necessary, right? It's necessary. It is necessary. So that is what I think that we really, really, really should focus on, right? And it sounds like some of you are, right? And probably you spend more time with others who are in that same frame of mind so that you can stay committed to what it is. Because my thing is, and even, you have those who are in your sphere of influence. Hey, Tracy, how you doing? Tracy from Cincinnati. Welcome. Tracy, we are talking about, Tracy just came in. Well, Corey just came in too. So I'll tell you where we are, but I think Corey picked up. We are still on we're on the topic, and we're talking about being in this pandemic, PLANdemic, SHAMdemic, whatever it is. We won't argue about what it is, but what we do know is that we are in a place where we are in many ways helpless, right? But whatever it is that we are in, it is still temporary. It is not going to last forever. And so my question to everyone was, what are you doing? Is there anything that you're doing in your life at this current place and time that will help you plan for your exit strategy? Because we're going to exit out of this time at some point, right? And so what can we do during this disastrous time? Because there are other people groups who've always known how to capitalize on a disaster. And in many ways, what we're experiencing is a lot like a disaster. And in many ways, it is a disaster. Not like, but it's a disaster. In this time of disaster for many of us, we have got to pinpoint how we can capitalize, how we can use what is here to get us to the next step, right? The next place, because we all have to leave this, or we're going to leave this dispensation at some point. And when we do, what is your life going to look like? Because in many ways, on many levels, we're not going back to what we know, right? But at the same time, this time could be a reset, a space for reset for us. It could be a space where you can wipe the slate and start all over, right? Because oftentimes that's what people do. When you don't have a choice, then you start rewriting your life, right? But oftentimes as Black people, we don't always pick up on that. We're just living in the moment and never preparing for anything else. So that was my question. What have you, if anything, what have you done so that your exit strategy, so that you have an exit strategy at the end of this? And Tracy said, I'm focused on being debt free. And that is the second person that said that. Millicent said the same thing. I didn't say that, but that is part of what my thing was. And what I said was that me and my husband sat down and talked about the fact that we have to put something in place for retirement. We've been talking about it, but talk is cheap, right? And while we've been running around and we didn't have the opportunity to sit down and think about it, when you're running around busy, a lot of times you don't take care of your business because you run around busy. But since we were here, we got to really talking and really thinking and saying, wait, now what do wait, hold it. We don't have, there are more years, but way more years behind us than there are in front. What are we going to do? We can't depend on these kids to take care of us. What are we actually going to do? And so that's what our mindset turned to retirement, and not retirement to like Millie said, not retirement to I when I sit down, because I'll probably work till the Lord take my last breath. I'm sure of that. But that's because I do what I want to do, right? I do what I like to do. And Millicent was saying something very similar. Okay, Millicent said, my life is going to look like it's being lived on purpose. That's what I'm talking about. I'm doing what I plan. No more reactions. That's what I'm talking about, being proactive instead of reactive, which is what we typically are. Not at work, in a relationship, or help. Corey said, we spent this time getting over some hurdles, deciding to be together, and what peace will look like. Oh, that's good. That's good. We had never been with anyone 90 days straight. Wow. Learned how to be in a 3-bedroom house 24 hours a day. That's true. That is very true. We all learned that. You all do me a favor, please, and share the stream. I would appreciate that. So that's what I want to make sure that I think we keep at the forefront of our mind. And that is that in this point in time, in this day and time, we should be making sure that this is what came to me earlier today, that our lives, and it's very, very close to what Millicent said, this is a perfect opportunity to fashion a life for yourself that you've always wanted. It's the perfect opportunity. If you don't have, is somebody coming on the steps? If you need to come out, come on out. If you never had the time that you need to do what you wanted to do, now's the time. Many of us have really peculiar situations where you don't have to spend so much time working, and there may be some other money coming in as well. And if we're not spending it on stuff that's not important, and if we have a focus and a vision on the other side of this pandemic, that you could look back, we could actually look back at this pandemic and say, you know what? It was a curse in many ways, but it was also a blessing because I was able to move in this area of my life. Right? Okay. I thought somebody said something, so I stopped with that. So that is what I want us to think about, right? But I also think that there are a lot of, and we're always already thinking about that, right? Because everybody had something, or you already been thinking about it. But a lot of us have people in our sphere of influence who are not thinking like that. They're spending every dime that's coming in. They're wasting time, spending all the time on social media or all the time watching TV, but not producing anything. So I just feel like we should have a responsibility to those who are not thinking about it, because on the other side of it, it's just a perfect time for our people to come up. Really, this is a time where our people could come up in many ways if we are focused on the vision. I don't know if y'all heard about this, so I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'm gonna ask you something in a second. Millicent said, can you repeat that fashion your life statement, please? It's a perfect opportunity that I didn't write it down, but hopefully I said in a similar way. It's the perfect opportunity right now to fashion your life in a way that you've always wanted it to be, right? You could fashion your life right now because of the reset, because of the space of reset, this time, this what do you call it? This windfall of time. And in some cases, a windfall of finances, in some cases, right? That you didn't really work for, right? So although it has been disastrous, this is the perfect opportunity to fashion your life in a way that you want it to be, so that it looks like you wanted it to look, but ended up somewhere else. Because most of us did that. Most of us ended up somewhere else that we didn't necessarily, we realized later, that's not really where I wanted to go, but often because of all the noise, we did what we were told to do or what it seemed like we were supposed to do because of what we saw, and never really hit the mark. Do you understand what I'm saying? Okay. Clarence said, my job never stopped. It altered. Okay, wait, what happened to your question? Okay, he just took it away. That's why I don't see it. It says message retracted. Okay, well, if you come back, I'll take that. All right, so I just feel like it's really important that we should, just kind of share with people, kind of bring folk along, at least start a conversation for some who may not be thinking about it. Maybe we can mentor. I ain't trying to give you no job. I'm just thinking about something. So anything else y'all want to say about that, please add it here. And then I will address it, or we'll discuss it. Meanwhile, I'm going to move on to something else that I wanted to tell you before I forget. So, and I know that this is not for everyone. It's not for everyone, but I'm learning more and more about it. So I can't help it. I'm a teacher. I share what I learned, right? Okay. Millicent said, mine didn't either. I just found time because I wasn't doing the busy-ish. Absolutely. Absolutely. That running around will take you off. It will take you off your square. But especially as women, and I shouldn't say that because I know Sonny said, how much stuff I do, how much shit I'm into. As women, we do a whole lot of that, running around for other people as well as ourselves, but basically for other people. So the final word is reset, right? Use this time to reset. Use this time, and I wrote this down earlier. Use this time to plan for an afterglow as opposed to an aftermath. Because this could be, when we come out the other side of this, if you haven't planned anything, well, people are going to look, they're going to be walking through the aftermath, right? But if we plan accordingly and stick with folks that can help support us and we can support, then when we come out on the other end, it's an afterglow, not the aftermath, right? Okay, let's see. Hold that mug up again. Fire. Okay. Somebody made that for me a while ago. But thank you. All right. So I don't know if y'all heard about this, but let me just say this. Let me move on here. Here's my question. When I talk about retirement, I have to add this piece because this is part of the stuff that was my retirement, right? Some of you will know where I'm going with this, but I can't help it. The more I learn, the more I have to share. Is an option, not the option, but is an option for Afterglow being a part of the Blaxit revolution. I don't know what you all have heard about Blaxit, the Blaxit revolution, but if you've heard anything about it, just let me know in the chat. I know Corey's going to know what I'm talking about, But anybody else, if you heard of the Blaxit movement or the Blaxit revolution, just type something real quick and let me know. Because for me, part of my exit strategy will have to do with the Blaxit movement. Okay, so the Blaxit movement, Tracy said no, Corey said definitely an option for me. It's definitely an option for me as well. And that's a part of my retirement. So, okay, so Vita said she's not. Yes, you are. I'm about to tell you. Blaxit movement comes from the word exit, but it has to do with Black people who are exiting the United States or exiting other areas in the world, diasporans that are returning to the motherland. But the movement is called the Blaxit movement, meaning the exit, the Black folks exit movement, right? So you all know that my husband is from Gambia. But I will say this, though. I can honestly say this. Before the pandemic, building in Africa was just kind of like a faraway thought. It's one thing to say things, it's something else to do it, right? Really faraway thought. We talked about it a little bit, but if you don't have nothing, you ain't put nothing in place, you can talk all you want to talk. You can talk till you get blue in the face and ain't gonna change nothing. And that's where we were for a long, long time. But the pandemic put a lot of things into perspective for us. Like I'm sure it did it with you all. One of the things was that nothing is concrete here, right? That the things that we had built our hopes on in the United States as Americans, or let me just say as Black Americans here, that none of it was really a true foundation, that many of it, and this could be the case in many places, but I can only talk about what I've experienced, right? So loss of life is absolutely easy, happens all the time. I don't have to tell you about that. We don't have to go through all of, because we'll be from at 2 o'clock in the morning still naming people, right? Opportunities, when they feel like they've done with you or they don't need you, we found out they'll snatch your job out from under you and say, we don't have nowhere for you to go on. Do what you gotta do. But we don't need you though. They did that in the automobile industry and in the steel industry, and that's just what they do. Nothing is promised to you, right? Let me look at some of this real quick. Considering going to Cuba, Millie said, or Jamaica. Got a lot of friends who have done it already. So I'm sure you already heard some of the stories. Corey said, I'm out of here. My parents are older, but won't live forever. I'm using my house as rental property and using theirs as an Airbnb so I can stay home. So I can stay there when I'm stateside if things work out. Tracy said, so let me play devil's advocate. Why do we have to leave? Why can't we push them out? They are fast becoming the minority. The generation is fighting back. That's true, Tracy. I agree with that. I absolutely have seen more bite since the George Floyd thing than I've ever seen. Even in our generation, I see that kind of fight. So for reasons that I think that's good. But I'm gonna tell you why, Tracy. Matter of fact, I got some stuff that I pulled down today that I'm gonna share with you. I think that we are in the middle of another great migration. That's what I think. And if we don't realize that, we won't know it. And then our children will, or our grandchildren will read about it in the history books. But I think that we are currently in a great migration. When I say that, I mean just like the migration where Black folks move from the north, move from the south to the north for better jobs and better opportunities, right? But right now, whether you know it or not, there are a lot of African Americans that are moving back to different, not just Gambia, Ghana, Tanzania, South Africa, Liberia, because what they have found out is the same thing I found out when I was there a year ago. And that is there's so much opportunity there. And with the little bit of money you have the opportunity to gain so much more. And They want you there because they realize that you have not only the resources, but some ingenuities that they don't have. So one reason I think that we should go there, not necessarily to stay, that would be up to you. But I do think that any thinking person should consider this because there's so much opportunity there. So you should consider possibly retiring there, possibly. And I know that's big for some people, but if you put your foot on the ground, you might say something different. Because the way they retire, you can retire with the kind of money that you have in your retirement account, you ain't gonna never be able to do it here. So that's one thing. But the other thing is business opportunities. And what I believe, what I honestly believe is that we are not going to ever, as Black people, accomplish what we want to accomplish until we get into those three areas I call bio: business, investment, and opportunity. We have got to get in a way where we figure out how to make money exponentially, as opposed to trading an hour for $1, an hour for $1, an hour for $1. We're gonna die trading an hour for $1, hour for $1, as opposed to finding ways where your money can work for you as opposed to you working for your money. So we got to move out of the labor force into some managerial kind of stuff, some ownership kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Business, investment, and ownership. Period. And in these places that I'm telling you, it's almost like many of them have been set back 30 years behind. And that can be good and bad. But for an African American with a mid-income, the opportunities are there like you didn't have them here. Okay, let me look at some of these. Okay, so I'm tracing then. Okay, and then Clarence said the American dream turned out to be a nightmare. Absolutely. Miller said, I love that thought, but I'm tired of fighting. And I'm assuming she's saying Tracy's thought. I want to be somewhere I'm loved and welcome. That's celebrated, not tolerated, right? I don't want to fight about the things that I or no one else can control. It's a good point. And then Tracy said, only for those who brought into it. Only for those who bought into the American dream, she's saying. Okay, and then Tracy said, okay, Vicky, speak facts from experience. Do Africans really like us? I always hear that they think we are spoiled and entitled. Okay, so from experience, I've seen that, and I've not seen that. I have seen some Africans that exactly that. They say we spoiled and we are entitled. Most of that, though, was interestingly enough, most of that I experienced when I was on college campuses, and they were here in our territory. And that's interesting, right? That's when I saw that attitude that you're talking about. It does exist for some. It does. And that's where I saw it, which is really odd, because not only were they on our campus, in our country, but they weren't even citizens. They were just here for school, just on papers. So it was all temporary. But you had the nerve to come here and look at me like it was really weird. It was really weird. So yes, I've experienced that, Tracy. The flip side, though, let me go way back to Kenya. And you remember when I went to Kenya in 90, it would have been 92. I remember how happy those people were to see me, simply because they said the white people always come and Black folk don't never come. They treated me like I was a queen. I started feeling guilty. I'm like, wait a minute, you ain't got to tie a shoe. That's the kind of stuff but they were just so happy to have an African American, an American who looked like them in their presence. And that's how they treated me from the time I got there to the time I left. When I went to Gambia this past February, I experienced the same thing. They were so happy to, it's one thing for them to see Famar is one of them. But when I came with the children, you have to experience it for yourself. I mean, I don't know what else to say except for you to have to experience it for yourself. Tracy said they told us that they were African princesses and we fell for it. Hook, line, and sinker. They showed it. I remember that. I remember that. And it's like, what? Did you know that he was a prince? I remember that shit. That's hilarious. Yeah, we fell for it. We ain't We didn't know no better. We didn't. That certainly was not the case. But yes, I have experienced that. But I've experienced just a little of that, like I said, on the college campus. Outside of that, I haven't experienced that. Does that idea exist? Yep. But you know what? I didn't experience it there. The other thing is, it pales in comparison to the kind of stuff that we experience here. Period. It pales in comparison. And it's one thing that the other thing is you get there and say you have, because maybe you probably will run into some of that. And my thought is because it is a great migration, there will eventually be some of that cultural clash. You know, because it's one thing to have 3 or 4 Americans here, Black Americans that you know are not used to. It's another thing when they come in droves. So I'm sure. I mean, it's only natural. Some of that rivalry that's just gonna happen. But you know what? That rivalry is gonna be different than what we're talking about being held away from. You know, being discriminated against and not given opportunity to thrive. Right. So I'm talking about opportunities to thrive, not to strive, but to thrive. Right. Those opportunities exist there. And we could talk about in detail the kinds of businesses that are, and I won't get them all. And I learned something new every day. I sent Corey a video that I found on another woman I found on YouTube today. I had no idea. She was from UK, but she gone over to Gambia. She's been there about 2-3 years. Her and her husband have 2 businesses. When you start following that and paying attention to those people on YouTube, they are growing and growing and growing and growing. So the opportunities are endless. And when you think about the fact that there are so many African Americans moving there are things that they're going to want as African Americans in that place that they can't get on a regular basis. Somebody got to supply, right? Because you're going to want the things from home. That's just how we are. When you get somewhere after a while, you're going to be like, well, Dad, can I get some pink moisturizer? If I could just get some pink moisturizer. It's going to be a hot commodity, right? A hot commodity. So anything else y'all want to write, do that, and I will check the thing. But my point is, we are in a great migration, another migration. So I just wanted to read you a few things that I found off the internet. This one was by, I want to say, I didn't get I'm not going to lie. Anyway, I found it online. It says, what caused a great, I'm sorry. We know what caused a great migration. That was from I'm sorry. Let me give you this fact right here. Did you know that around 1916, when the Great Migration began, a factory wage in the urban north was typically 3 times more than what blacks could expect to make working the land in the rural South? Now, I don't know how many of your parents are in the places they are as a result of the Great Migration, but that's why my parents are in Pontiac, Michigan, up from Mississippi. Now, they came later in the migration because my father and my mother didn't come to the late 60s. But that's why they're here in this area. They came during the Great Migration. Now, what's interesting to me is that when they made that move, they came here thinking or knowing that they would get more money than they ever received working the ground in working on farms and sharecropping, and especially after the boll weevil situation that took about, I got the date somewhere, but after that whole boll weevil thing, it really messed up farming and sharecropping in the South. So they were able to make 3 times what they made at home. No wonder they came in floods, but they came to conditions that were not the best. But it seemed like it. You know, it seemed like it was the best situation. They were able to get a home that they never owned before. They ended up being in factories where they were really abused, and many of them, because I've heard some of those stories. My aunt told me a story that she worked in a foundry, and she told me, she said, first of all, my mother told me that she wasn't going to work in plant. She said, I was too lazy for that. So I knew when I came, I could work in the plant. I just couldn't do that. But she ended up doing what was typical of wives of plant workers to do. She cleaned toilets in white women's houses. Excuse me, all as a result, all result of what was going on in the plant, right, with men. My aunt, however, said she was a hard worker. So my Aunt Claude, came and went to the plant, and she said they put her in the foundry. She said to me, she said, I worked that job, she said, and it was the best thing I thought I'd ever had. She said, but when I went in there, I was one color. She said, when I came out, I was this 5 or 6 shades darker, because she said it was 100. I want to say she said 120 degrees down there, and they were working 10 and 12-hour days sometimes. So that alone, when I hear that, I said, oh my God, but they did what they had to do. They needed the opportunity, right? So that's why that's how all of this in this Midwest area came to be, as a result of those people that came here looking for that opportunity. Well, the same thing is happening. The difference, I think, though, is between that migration and this one is during this migration, there is opportunity for us to go and move in leadership and ownership, in business and investment and opportunity, as opposed to going in as workers. The other piece is we have the opportunity as business owners, investors, and owners, or business runners, investors, owners, however you do it. We have the opportunity to go in and give employment to many, many Africans who don't have jobs. And we could do it respectfully, because that's something they didn't do for us. Our forefathers and foremothers worked like slaves in those factories. And, they used to call them generous motors, because it seemed generous at the time. It didn't seem generous when they had to come out of the plant with carpal tunnel in his hand and can't raise this leg or stretch it out. Then they realized it was something totally different. But at the time, it seemed great. We'll have the opportunity to go home or back to the motherland in leadership positions and respectfully give some of them the opportunities that they won't have anywhere else. All right, let me read some of this. Okay. Corey said they're inspirational. We're going to be a blessing to them and them to us. I think so too. Millicent says some better made red hot chips. If you need my address for a care package, that's what I'm talking about with DM you. Okay. That's the stuff I know they're going to want, because I know that after you've been out of country somewhere like that for 2-3 weeks, you start craving stuff that you want. Some of that stuff, somebody going to need to supply it. I'm just saying. All right. And Sonny said, my experience with the Africans or others in the diaspora have been the same as yours, Vicky. Okay. And Clarence has been to Africa at least, I'm gonna say 2 or 3 times, maybe more. So our family great migrated to Alabama in the last 15 years. Right. That's right. They did. They had the right idea though, because they went looking for opportunity, and opportunity arose. And I'm just saying that there's a possibility that we need to be on the lookout, right, to see what's going on in these areas. Now, Millicent mentioned Jamaica. I think you're in Cuba. I want to say your brother, I think Lawrence mentioned to me Cuba. I think he said too. Did he even start thinking about Cuba? I believe is what he said. But the point is, there are many opportunities outside of this small mindset that we've been given. And now I think if you ever thought about getting out or expanding, Tracy, that's the term I wanted to use with you. You don't have to consider moving to Africa, but you should think about expanding to Africa. You should think about that, or expanding to Jamaica, or expanding to Cuba, wherever, because the point of it is not to go anywhere and get in debt. That's not the point. The point is to go somewhere where you can bring something to the table, and you can be more successful in that economy than you have been able to be in the economy that you were raised in. That's the point. Okay. His wife is Cuban. That's where our grandfather. I didn't know your I knew your grandfather. I thought your grandfather was I thought he was Jamaican. I didn't know that he was Cuban. Oh, okay. So that's the point. The point is not to go and somewhere else where you can be in the same caught up in it with the same vices that you have right now. That's not the point. The point is to go somewhere so that you can You can retire without retiring. You can live your life until you retire. You understand what I'm saying? Until your body retires. Right? And what I have found is there's a way to do it with the money that we made, with the money that we've made. So if you have a pension, you ain't gonna live here the way you could live in some of those countries with your pension. I've seen it with my own eyes. I had heard about it, but when I saw it last year, I thought, why would you? And I kept running into these African American people that were living large. I was like, what the world? And then I found out that some of those 5-6 bedroom homes on the water, they only cost $300 and $400 to rent a month. $300 or $400 US a month. Do you hear what I'm saying to you? Okay, Corey said, I went out of the rat race. I want out of the rat race. I know that's right. Even as an entrepreneur, working so hard to get and provide service for clients every day, this can't last forever. Corey, I'm with you 100%. That's why we have to move together, or and bring each other in on information so that we can, because it's available to us, and shame on us, and how sad it would be if we leave this earth never having experienced these things that are available. They're available. It's not like it's no longer out of just a figment of your imagination, because I'm telling you what I know. It's no longer a figment of your imagination. It's just, but I will say this, and you don't have to go with me, but you do have to see it for yourself. You got to see it, because it's the only way you can grasp it. I'd heard, what was available, what was possible. I was like, you have to see it so you can grasp it. All right, Tracy. Yeah, I'm not lying about that. 4 and 5 bedroom homes on the water, $300-$400 a month. And when you talk about a meal, like for instance, we would go and get, like, there's a corner restaurant where near my brother-in-law's house. And so we go to, it was called Happy Corners. So we go to Happy Corners in the evening. That's where me and Famara go and get away from the kids. Go and sit down and have a Jewel Brew. That's the name of I think their most famous beer. It was called Jewel Brew, Jule Brew. So we go sit down and have a Jewel Brew, and maybe eat, but my sister-in-law cooked 3 meals a day. So, but anyway, we may go, if we're going to something that seemed a little more American, like they would have like a fried chicken sandwich, for instance, and we may go get one of those, or what they call a hamburger, which is similar, which is why Corey needed to be down there doing a restaurant, because it was similar, but it wasn't right. But if Corey was there making her hamburgers, every American in Banjul will be over there trying to get them hamburgers because they know they're right. That's what I'm telling you. There's so much opportunity there. There's so much opportunity there. And that's just, food industry is just a piece of it. We follow, and I say I'm talking about Corey now because I know she follows them too. There's a couple that we follow called, their name of their YouTube channel is Bag. They have bought, I don't know how many acres. They're doing a farm. They've been there for 4 years. They moved down there. They said, well, $5,000. Now, I wouldn't suggest that for nobody. But they moved down there with $5,000 and I think 6 kids. They've been there 4 years. They started a farm that they call Black Acres of the Gambia, because they have acres. They have acres. Now, they got their acres way out, but it don't matter, depending on what you want to do with it. And they want to do a farm. And I'm telling you, anything you can think of, just about, they are growing in that farm, and they're setting up processing plants and stuff like that. So it's going to take a while, but what they've accomplished in 4 years, we could not have imagined here. And they did it not knowing nobody. That's a little, because I followed them a while. Corey has too by now. So, there's something they do. I'm thinking, damn, I would not have done that. They didn't know nobody. So they didn't know the culture. They just said, we out of this bitch. Got their kids, got on the flight, and said they kept thinking about it and kept talking about it. Finally, they just took everything they had and said, let's go. And they left. But the stuff is coming together. But the whole while they're built, they haven't finished building that first main house on their land yet. They are living, renting, And they've been renting for 4 years. And he said, ain't no way in the world they could afford this in the U.S. I think he said a 5-bedroom house. I believe is what he said. Ain't no way in the world they could afford that. So to sit down and go to a dinner, we went to dinner. I think dinner cost something like, if you wanted a plate of, like a plate of food, a hamburger, fries, a drink, I want to say it was something like maybe $27. And you get, was it $27? Maybe a little more than that. But the point of it is, it ended up costing something like $3 for the whole meal. Maybe $5 if you add a drink. So if you get a really decent meal for like $5 and you're paying rent for a 4 or 5 bedroom home furnished for $300 or $400 a month on the water, you can walk to the water, and all the food that you eat every day, because you really can't afford a maid. You can afford a maid, and most people do have them. Africans too. Most of them have a maid, because if you're at least middle income there, you can afford a maid. And when I say afford a maid, I don't mean somebody that you mistreat. A maid who probably lives at your house, because most houses have a little kitchen area that is close to the back of the house and near the kitchen, and a little room that's for the maid. And most of those people are people who want that kind of job because they don't come from that kind of money. So to have a job where I have a house, my parents don't have to worry about me, I can take care of myself, and I make enough to even take care of my family who may be in the bush, for instance. So I mean, if you put it all together, you're talking about, living large for maybe $500 a month, large. And that would explain why so many are going, because they realize when they got there, oh my God, I mean, this is a lifestyle that I didn't think I could even live, but you can. Okay, I'm gonna read a few of these and then I'm gonna move on because we've been here for a while. Okay, so Corey said, "Girl, bag ain't ready for us." No shade, but we're gonna be strategically prepared and successful. Yeah, we preparing. Yeah, they courageous though. They are courageous because the stuff that they've accomplished, not knowing anybody, not knowing the language, and bringing all your kids, and some of the kids badasses. I mean, they courageous. Okay, she said, "I'm all about communalism and working with like-minded folk to create a life of peace, joy, and actually spirituality or spiritually." Me too, Corey. Okay, so that reminds me. Let me mention this, and then we'll move on to the next thing. Have y'all heard about the 19 families who just purchased 97 acres in right up from Macon, Georgia? This just happened like in the past month. Did y'all hear about that? 19 families. Black families, of course, 97 acres, all uncut land, the majority of it. Just did it about a month ago. And the purpose of it is they want to create their own city, all inclusive. They've started planning. They've pulled all their people together. They got certain kinds of people that do certain things because they have people who bring to the table what they need in order to create this community, right? Matter of fact, I'm going to be on a Zoom call tomorrow, God willing, with one lady who is one of the 19 and Google it, y'all. I Googled it today. I was like, oh my God, this is awesome. But I'm going to be on a Zoom call tomorrow with one lady who is one of the 19 who owns a container firm. She is redoing these containers as houses, and she did a school in Ghana. She's in Georgia. Just recently did a school in Ghana, a container school where they put several containers together and made a beautiful what is it called? Art school, I think it was. Right? But she also is one of these 19. So they got that part on lock. Container homes, right? Tiny homes. But she does them where you can have a tiny home, or you can do 3 or 4 of them, and they put them up in different ways so that you can have a 4 or 5 bedroom home if that's what you want. And when I talk with her after I have this Zoom meeting, I'm going to get her information, and that may be something that we can talk about together. Because She'll soon be looking for investors. So that's a thought, right? That's a thought. That's one way. But again, we have got to move in those 3 areas. Bio, we have to be, it have to be business, it's got to be investment, and it's got to be ownership. So anything that we can come up with and we can share, I think will be a blessing to us all in the long run. Anything else in the chat about this, we can do that. And then if not, we can move on. We over to that. We've never gone this long. But we're going to move on to the next subject. Corey says, when I heard about those families, I felt joy. So you did hear about the motivation. Seeking them make things seem exactly. Seeing them makes things seem attainable. I'm praying for their community. Me too. Me too. And they want to call it Freedom, Georgia. That's the name that they're selling on, Freedom, Georgia. So if y'all haven't heard about Freedom, Georgia, look that up. Good information there. Really good information. And Vita says she start watching their videos. So Vita, the one that I'll send the link to you. The woman I found today, I think you started watching Juliet too from the Blaxit channel, I think. And if not, you should do that. Blaxit, Blaxit. She is a chick who is from, let me say this. Let me add this real quick. She's a chick from the UK. Has been invited in to work with, listen to this. She's been invited in to work with Gambia on rewriting their constitution to include diasporans as automatic citizens. Now, Juliet and her husband have been there for, I think it's 5 years. But the inroads that woman has made, but she was kind of political in the UK because I kind of look back at some of her old stuff. She was a little political in the UK, but not as political as she is in Gambia. They were happy to have her there. She has caused so much business and people to come into Gambia that they are rewriting their constitution as we speak. And she was invited to the table to help them write how they can include diasporans in their new constitution. Gambia had that whole Ghana had that whole return home thing. I forgot what they called it, but about 2 years ago, where they gave 128 people, I think it was, automatic citizenship. Ghana, however, is a lot more expensive than it is to live in Gambia. I keep hearing and reading about that. They said that the Americans say they live in Ghana, but it ain't cheap. That's not the case in Gambia, because Ghana has been the place where Americans go if they were going to go to go to Africa for a very long time. So they have had for a while African American communities that look very similar to ours, that are very much like ours. So I'm not saying you shouldn't go there, but I'm saying the money will not be the same. It's different. Okay. All right. So moving right along. That was a big one. That was a heavy one. All right. So anything y'all want to add, do that in the chat. And I'm moving on to number 2 subject of tonight. And that, 1 and 2 kind of ran together. So we've taken care of that. We can move on to number 3. Ooh, wait, before I do that, y'all might want to get y'all another. I'm adding a little Southern Comfort to my. If y'all need to refresh your tea, now's the time to do it, because we're about to talk about Jaguar Wright. Ooh, I feel like Medea. Ooh, baby. Have y'all heard anything about Jaguar? I know Tracy heard about Jaguar because we kind of chatted a little bit about it earlier today. What do y'all know about what's going on with the entertainment community and Jaguar Wright? Please do me a favor and share the stream. Please share the stream. You all help me to build my platform. My plan with this platform is to build it so that when we go to Africa in February, I got something to share. Right? I got something to share. By that time, I hope to be able to have more than 1,000 subscribers, and therefore I can go from my camera and I can document what we have decided to do and what we are doing in Gambia. I haven't shared all of that online. Some of that I had to talk to you personally about. But I will tell you that my family have begun to put things in motion, not just talk about what we may do. So we'll talk about that in person. if you want to know more about that. And if you want to know more about the upcoming trip, because we are going in February. We need to go in February. So if you are interested in going, let me know. Let me know. We'll talk about that privately. Okay, let's see. Tracy says she needs to be covered in prayer. I fear for her life. Out of the headline, she seems bitter and messy. Don't know how much of it is credible. Okay, exactly. So my brother was the one that put me on to this. He said, "What you know about Jaguar Wright?" And I told him, I said, I don't know a lot about her music, but I do know that she's a neo-soul singer and that she was, I want to say, I seem like I remember there was a compilation album on Hidden Beach back in the time. That would have been about 98, 99, when Jill and Erica was really hot. And they was doing all those hip hop compilations. You know, they had Common and they were doing them with Method Man and Mary J. They throw some Mary J in there. I know y'all remember that time. And if I remember correctly, there was a Hidden Beach CD that Jaguar Wright, for me, was introduced to me on, right? Oh, that was my first introduction to her. So I did write a little bit about her. Let me just tell you much about. Other than that, I'll tell you what Wikipedia says, at least some of it. They say that her name, of course, is Jacqueline Suzette Wright. She was born on May 17, 1977. Better known for her stage name, Jaguar Wright, is an American R&B neo-soul singer and songwriter. She's a part of the OK Player Collective, and Wright has performed and collaborated alongside rap acts such as The Roots, Jay-Z, and Blackalicious. Now, I don't remember her with The Roots, but apparently that's where she got her real start, with The Roots. So she's been around for a minute, but she just hasn't been as popular. And I know she can sing. The gal can sing. I remember that. The gal can sing, right? But here's the thing. Apparently, allegedly, Jaguar Wright was more around than we ever knew her to be around. It sounds like, and I haven't heard it refuted, that Jaguar has been around since she was a itty bitty. Y'all, please share the stream, share with somebody you know, so invite them into this conversation. But she apparently has been around a long time. She said that she had a uncle who brought her up in the business, and I think, if I remember correctly, don't quote me, his name was Kenny Gamble, I think she said. But uncle was also a musician, had been around in the music industry, and pulled her along because she had the gift. All right. So she talks about when she was 5, 6, 7 years old, but young girl, that she was in a lot of studio sessions, helping taking out the trash and whatever, because she was just kind of like, a studio brat. It's pretty much what it sounds like. But she got put on by the Roots, apparently. Okay, Tracy said Kenny Gamble is big in the industry. I never heard his name before, but apparently he's big in the hip hop industry. So she said he always had her around, but the Roots, I think, is the ones who really put her out there. But Jaguar Wright, who, was just kind of, she has just kind of meandered through. You see her over here at this concert, or you might hear that she was on this album doing something, or you might hear that she performed with somebody somewhere. So she was never really like a super popular staple like Jill Scott may have been. Everybody knew her name, or Erykah Badu would have been. She was definitely in the mix, and you kind of seen her float in and out. I remember that, right? Ooh. But Jaguar Wright has been on YouTube going ham for about 2 months, and she has just about everybody in the anybody in the neo soul industry, just about, and those hip hop artists that kind of weaved in and out, because they were collabing together, that kind of thing. She started tearing them new holes. She started tearing them new holes. Now, what has caused all of this, I'm not really sure, but she says that God told her that if she didn't set the record straight and she didn't expose these people, that she would lose her voice. And she said, I'm not going to lose my voice. So I've been watching clips, right? Let me tell you what the stuff that really stuck out the most to me. I thought, I got to stop. I thought I was just going to kind of flip through, but I had to stop to hear what she was. What did she just say? Oh my God. I know she ain't talking about Julie from Philly. I know she ain't talking about Julie from Philly, Hell yeah, she's talking about Jill from Philly and everybody else. But let me just I just wrote a few notes down because I thought I don't want to forget to tell y'all this. So Jill Scott, for instance, and when I say that she talks about this, she gives examples of when she was together and when this happened. And she said Jill Scott is a whore. Period. She said that she's a fucking whore. And she went on to say that the reason that she had that space of infertility was because of all the fucking venereal diseases that she had, all the scarring from the venereal diseases. She said that Jill plays that whole, nice and sweet girl. She said, but she ain't. She said, who in the world? She said, who hire all their friends, ex-boyfriends, so she can fuck them? Who do that? Went ham. That wasn't all she said, but that was the basis of it. Erykah Badu, whore. Now she said that she and Jill, according to Jaguar, she and Jill Scott were best friends at one time. She said, but Jill ain't no good. She ain't no good whatsoever. She said, and that her and Jill her and Erykah have worked together to make sure that no other female artists can come up. When she got up to Erykah Badu, she said Erykah Badu is a whore. Right? She also said, she didn't say this. I'm saying this. I'm summing up what she said. That she's a castrator of men. She said every time Erykah get with a man, he loses fucking mind. She said she wish. This is funny to me. She said that she wished that she would go ahead and she said she wished that she would go ahead and let Andre 3000 go. Leave him the fuck alone and get his drawers out of her front, unearth his drawers from her front yard. Referencing, that would suggest that she was doing some witchcraft, that she was a witch, right? She said, got that grown man, I think she said 40 something years old, whatever she said, running around playing a fucking flute. Okay, let me look at what Tracy said. She said, everybody she's called out, she's looked dead in the camera and said, if I'm lying, sue me. No lawsuits yet. I believe Jack. Tracy, that's what I was going to say. That's what I was going on to say. I'm coming back to that. I'm going to lay out some more of this, and I'm coming right back to what you just said. Talib Kweli, she said he's a punk. Now, she said she had a whole extramarital relationship with him. She did. This is interesting, too. She be calling folk out, but she tell you what she did. Now, if she's telling all of what she did, I don't know. But she is saying some stuff that I wouldn't repeat to nobody. One of the things is that she was in a whole marriage, and she said, I was fucking Talib Kweli. She said, and some other men, and it had me a bitch, too. I said, who? She talks about how they were on the OK Player tour, and she said Talib Kweli was her dude, right? And she had a whole husband at home. She said, and then she said her husband was a punk ass. She said the only reason that she married her husband is because he was going to. She said her husband was trying to blackmail her and destroy her career by telling everybody that she was bisexual. And so the way she got around that was to marry him. But the way she tell it, she didn't want nothing to do with him, but he blackmailed her, and so she was with him. So she had a husband. She said, and she was fucking Talib Kweli on a regular. That was her dude during the OK Player tour. She went on to say, let me see what Life Her Way says. Big says, who was the heavy bitch? I don't know. I missed that part. I don't know. But she said that Her husband got wind of it because somebody went and told it. Somebody was mad at her and went and told it. I think I want to say she said who was, but I can't remember who she said. Anyway, they went and told it. She said, and then her husband, she said, used her credit card, got on the flight, didn't tell her nothing, showed up at the joint, and she said Talib Kweli started running like a bitch. Running around to my phone. Oh, Jag's husband. Oh, Jag's husband. She said she looked at her. She said, "Are you really? That's what you're doing?" She said, "He's a fucking punk. Punch him in his fucking face and get rid of him. What are you talking about?" Right? Corey said, "What's her motivation? Even if it's all true, what is she getting from it? Why now? I think I need to watch the videos. I've been avoiding them. No, you got to watch these videos." Hold that thought. I'm gonna come back to what I think it is. All right, Talib Kweli, she laid him out and said that was her man, and she laid him out. And what's interesting is, back to what Tracy said, only one person that I saw, and she's been at this for about 2 months. Only one person that I saw came back and tried to refute any of it, and that was Talib Kweli. This is what's interesting, though. He said in his response that some of those people that they somehow talked to me. They told me don't worry about it, not to address it. But no, I'm going to address it. I'm going to address it. And then he didn't address it. What he did, and I said when he got finished, I said that's why they told you not to say shit, because ain't nothing you said changed nothing she said. When he came back with his rebuttal, he didn't refute anything that she said. All he did was try to put, especially the Roots crew, she laid them out. He tried to take all those people and put them on a pedestal and talk about what all they done for the Black community, and how they were philanthropists, and how they had worked in the community doing this, that, and the other. And what has Jag done in the Black community? What has she done for the Black community? Nothing. As if what they done in the Black community would cancel out all that shit that she said. Because, for instance, the Roots, Talib Kweli, some of those other ones, she talked about their culture of gang rape and misogyny as if it was, they did it as often as they ate food, is the way she talked about it. Like it was second nature to them to gang bang women on a regular, up and down the highway, and leave some of them at truck stops and bus stops with their purses in the car, and then tell them, they call and say, "Oh, we'll mail it to you," some shit like that. She said, the way she said, this is regular behavior for them. She talked about a time where she said that she would get on, there were times that she'd be so tired, and she set the situation up. She talked about how, what a day would look like, in the life of an entertainer, a on the road entertainer. And so she talks about what all she would have done in a day. She said, then can you imagine when a day is over, come back, I come to get on the tour bus, so I can go to sleep. And I got to walk around and crawl through these men with their phallic tools in women's mouths, and several of them at one time, and all this kind of crazy stuff. She said, they look at me and tell me, "Oh, you can get past. Oh, I'm gonna move you so you can get past," and keep on doing what they're doing. Tracy says she makes it sound like Diddy is worse than R. Kelly. Oh, did I even write him down? That was horrible. I'm gonna come back to that. She sure did. So the Roots, she said all that shit they've been singing about, this net conscious shit. She talked as if gang rape was it's what they did, like they smoked cigarettes or whatever. They gang, that's what they do. This is what they do. And they didn't care if anybody saw it or anybody if anybody had wind of it, because they all protected each other. Talib Kweli never said that wasn't the case. He never said that. All he said was, "Bruce, So are you trying to refute Black Thought's pen? Are you trying to take away from what this brother can do with his pen? Or what? Who said anything about a pen? Nobody said nothing about she's talking about animalistic behavior, period. Stuff that should be prosecuted. And he talking about the man can write, the man can rap. Okay, Tracy said, Corey, I think it's a cleansing for her. She's seen a lot and feels guilty in that well, that's interesting because she did say something like that. She said that she had to tell what she did. She said, I had to tell it. As a matter of fact, she may have used the word cleansing. No, she didn't say cleansing. She used the word, she said, she said something like it's my repentance or something like that. Same idea, right? Vita said not a pen, but a penis. Right. Right. Yeah, so she said something to that effect, Tracy. She did. All right. Common. She said Common is a molester, but not of other people. She talked about him sexually assaulting her. That's what it would be, not molested, but sexual assault. But what she said, well, that was interesting. I was like, I don't know but I'm gonna tell you what she said. She said that they were in a relationship, that they were together, that they were sleeping together and all that. But she said that she woke up one day and he had his penis up trying to get it in her mouth while she was asleep. And she said, what the? She said, I am a rape survivor. You gonna put your in my mouth and while I'm sleeping, I'm a rape survivor. Are you kidding me? And she said that was it. She was done with him. So I don't know if I agree. Because I don't know what that sex looked like before that. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't to me something odd that he might do that, because I don't know what it looked like. I don't know what it looked like. So I don't know if I agree with that, but she did say that, and she kept saying it. She did it on several occasions, on several interviews. And she said that he was awkward, sexually awkward, and socially awkward. Basically, when she basically, I don't know if she ever said these words, but this is certainly what she meant. That swag ain't real. It ain't even real. He ain't got no swag. He corny, she said, and she said, and he was clingy. I said, damn. She said he ain't really never been right since. And she didn't say anything bad about her that I know of, but she did mention her. And if she said anything bad, I missed this part. She said he wasn't right the moment Lauryn Hill was through with him. She said he ain't been right since then. I thought, damn. But she didn't say anything about Lauryn that I knew of. And another person that she didn't touch, I thought was interesting, she never said anything about Musiq Soulchild. And somebody addressed and asked about Musiq Soulchild. She said, I don't really know much about, I don't know anything about him. For the most part, is what she said. Okay, Tracy said, I didn't get that they were in a relationship. Yeah. But see, there were snippets of several interviews in different places. She said, yeah, they were in a relationship. She said she always thought he was gay. Oh, okay, Mary J. Blige. She said Mary J. Blige. And then I saw something yesterday where a former Diddy guard came behind. He said that Jasmine said something about me. Jaguar said something about him. I can't remember what he said. I think he said that Jaguar said that he ran from Bad Boy or something like that. He addressed that. He addressed what she said. He said, that's not true. He said, I did not run from Bad Boy. He said, I left because I wanted to leave. He said, but, and listen to this. This is P. Diddy's security guard. He said, but I salute you, Queen, for what you're doing. He said, because that shit she's saying is the truth. I saw that yesterday. Big guy who's apparently he was around for a long time, but he finally left. He said, I salute you, Queen. He said, because that shit she telling is the truth. All right. Tracy said, oh no. She dragged Mary. I try not to debate what a woman considers rape. Is it already hard enough for a woman to open up about it? Yeah, that's true. That's true. Okay, Mary. Baby. The way she tell it, Mary was the bad boy hoe. Period. She said they used to run trains on her on a regular. That she used to take it on a regular. That it was like it was part of, like it was a contract. Like they had to, I mean, that was part of the contract, whether it was written or not. That whatever they wanted from her, she had to be able to give it. And that several of them. And if it meant another camp, then it meant another camp. So maybe it wasn't bad, but maybe it go somewhere else. But she had to be ready for whatever they, and she was ready, according to, from what I understand from Jaguar. She was ready. And that is the way it's been for her since the beginning and still is today. She said she's a whore. She's a crybaby. She said because all of that apparently gained her a place where nobody else would come up behind her. And she said that there are places that she would go where people would love her music and want to sign her. And then she said she'd get through and they say to her, you know what? I hate to say it. She's a record producer, whatever. Say, I hate to do it, but I'm not gonna be able to sign you. Matter of fact, nobody's gonna sign you as long as Mary J is on is that bad boy. It's not gonna happen because of the way she tells it. There were contracts or there are agreements between Diddy and a lot of these other people that nobody would touch Mary, but Mary had to be open for everybody's thing in whatever way she could get it or had to take it. The same guy that was a security guard for Diddy that said that Jag was telling the truth in his video yesterday that I saw, he said, that's just she said about Mary. He's shaking his head. And he said, I remember, he said, I was sitting down talking to Mary J. He said, Mary J said to me, he said, I was a security guard. He said, Mary J said to me, how much dick I had to suck to be here. And he said, he was like, oh. He said, I looked. He said, then I was like, don't stop now, Mary. He said, no, I'm just kidding. He said, but no, honestly, Mary said that to me. Jaguar dragged her so bad. She said she's untalented. She ain't got no talent. And then she told his story. And one video, she told this story that she said she overheard Diddy giving a speech to his interns. And in his speech, you all do me a favor, please share the stream. Please share. Yes, she did, Tracy, say that Mary J. Blige was a closet lesbian and that she was doing stuff with women around the corners and hoping nobody didn't see it. She said that she overheard him tell his interns this it was supposed to be a pep talk. But during this pep talk, she said that he said, this is the pep talk, he's preaching. I ain't gonna get into all that part, but this is what the message was. That at Bad Boy Records, they don't sign talented people. They sign untalented people. He said because what we gonna teach this industry is you don't need no talented motherfucker, because a talented motherfucker gonna try to tell you when they gonna do what they gonna do, how they gonna do it. But if you find somebody who ain't got no talent and you make them into a star, then you got that full control over who that is. Basically, that was the message. I'm summarizing, but that was the message. She said, I heard him say that in my own ears, she said, as a pep talk to his interns. So that has always been Diddy's process to find non-talented people and turn them into stars, because then he would have their loyalty and they do anything to keep that position. And when he said it, when she had this particular interview was with Storm Monroe. And he started saying, oh, now that explains everything. And he started just kind of rattling off people that have been with Bad Boy who aren't talented. And I immediately, when she said the first thing, I was like, I don't even see nobody else. Mary J ain't never been talented to me. I ain't never thought she could sing. I think she got good music. I never thought she could sing. I never thought Mary J could sing. And apparently, according to Jaguar Wright, that was always the issue, that he was looking for people that, she said, oh my God, when she said, tell the truth, Mary. Every time she said it, she almost said it like they said on 227. Tell the truth, Mary. You know, she said, where did he find you? Where he found you, she said, at a shopping mall singing badly. I just about lost it. The last thing that I wrote, that I heard her say about Mary J, and I thought, this is horrible. She talked about that BET award, 2019 BET award. She said, your Lifetime Achievement Award. Oh, she said, there's another thing that she said, and I thought, wow, that hit like a ton of bricks. She talked about Kendu, her ex-husband, the fact that she had to pay him all that money for alimony, whatever it's called when you're a man. She said, all that you've done for Bad Boy Records, they acting like you this or that, make you thinking you this, that. She said, if Diddy cared anything about you, he would have, she said, when Kendall tried to get you for all your money, if he cared anything about you, she said, Diddy would have pulled him to the side and said to him, bruh, let me $50 million. Let Mary live. She said, but he didn't do that though, did he? Did he marry? He didn't do that, did he? Because he don't give a fuck about you. She said, who are you? Who are you? She said, she was like the queen of goddamn soul. What you are, this is one last thing I wrote down, is the longest working monkey at the show, at the carnival, I think she said. The longest. She said, what kind of Lifetime Achievement Award? You should have got an award for being the longest working monkey in the show. And when she said that, the guy that was interviewing her started doing that break thing that she do when because she looked so darn tired because I went back and looked at it. I never seen it. I went back and looked at that and I thought, oh my God, she looked horrible. She looked tired. She looked like she was too damn old to be up there doing that shit. It's horrible. It's horrible. And so was that in that performance. And the voice, when I heard that, because I didn't watch the BT Awards. I went back to just see that video. When I saw that video, I said, damn, the least they could have done, because clearly she hadn't practiced in a very long time. I said that the least they could have done was tell her, look, we're going to get you in the studio a couple months before the award so that you can warm up your pipes and be ready. She sounded horrible. I mean, horrible. And the dance routines she looked like an old woman trying to be 20. She could hardly move. She already stiff. So in this, she like, it was horrible. It was horrible. Okay, Tracy said, but talk about wait, hold on. She said she's a closet. Okay, and then she said, but talk about how Diddy jumped past Andre Harrell because he's Clive Davis's bitch. Yeah. She also talked about, I mean, she was giving names too. When she would tell something, if it wasn't her involved, she would get a name of the person who said it and be like, sorry, and tell a name. So she told this story about how it's some woman told her, she was working for Diddy at the time as I think a lawyer or something like that. But the point of it is she walked in the office because the door was unlocked. She had to talk to Diddy. She said she walked in the office and found Christopher Williams giving Diddy a blowjob. But the girl said she walked in the office and they never stopped. So the girl came out, she just distraught. She's like, oh Lord, probably trying to think, what is this? Where am I? Is this the Twilight Zone? She said, did he come out and he starts playing mind games? Well, so what? What you gonna tell? What you gonna tell? Well, the story continues with the fact that he tells her this ain't about sex. This is about control. Because if I can make a motherfucker something, I gotta make a motherfucker do anything, all control. But apparently, the way she tell it, he was only doing to Christopher Williams the same thing that Andre Harrell did to him. So that seemed to be a pattern where that's what they did in the control to make you perform fellatio, because that's what they wanted you. That was the control piece, so that everybody that wanted to stay in the clique had to be willing to take one in the throat. Millicent said, I saw that. Crazy. And let me repeat what I said earlier about Talib Kweli. He didn't refute any of it. And none of these other folks that I see have come online to refute anything that I've seen. The only person that I've noticed that came on and said something was Tevin Campbell, or it was said that he said. I ain't seen Tevin Campbell say nothing. But she made a comment about Tevin Campbell being a prostitute. But it's interesting when she said it right now. Millie said, you're not getting that much control ever. Drake said Will and Jada. Oh, I forgot about that part. Okay, let me hit this real quick. Damn, that made me lose my train of thought. What was I talking about before I saw Will and Jada Crickets? We talked about Diddy. Oh, somebody help me. I was on, my mind is overloaded. I'm telling you, Corey, it was great. Oh, I was saying that nobody has refuted it, with the exception of Tevin Campbell. I heard 2 videos where it was said that Tevin said that she better keep her name out of his mouth, because he would have his lawyers on wait if she did that. If she don't stop talking his name. But this is what's interesting about Tevin. What she said about Tevin, I don't think she said to get at Tevin. What she said was, she was talking about the godlessness of this industry, right? And so she said, how does a boy, a man with the kind of voice and the talent that a Tevin Campbell has finds himself or ends up on Hollywood Boulevard selling his body as a prostitute? How does that happen? That's how she mentioned Tevin Campbell. But then apparently people said that Tevin Campbell said she don't have no proof of that, and she better keep her name out of her mouth. And then I heard one influencer say she never heard that either, but she said, what I found when I did my research, she was a young person, so she probably wouldn't be around when we were, when I was anyway, when I was around for that. But she said, I found in some old newspapers or what have you, some old articles where it said that Kevin was buying, that he got picked up for soliciting, not for selling. And so my thought is she might have got that part mixed up, but I heard that he was selling his body too. I never saw it written anywhere, but I certainly heard it. But anyway, apparently Tevin didn't like that and said something about it. However, I ain't seen Tevin say nothing. I've seen 2 influencers say that it was said that Tevin said. I ain't heard Tevin say nothing either. And so that if that's the case, nobody has come on to refute anything. That shit Talib Kweli did was not any refutation. He should have sat down somewhere like they told him, because he incriminated him and them more than he did if he didn't shut his ass up to say nothing. All right. Will and Jada, I'm coming back to that. So Vita said, that is why people are always talking about singing non-disclosures. Oh yeah, when they are around stars, that's right. Jimmy Fallon crickets. Oh Lord. Will and Jada. I'm just gonna give you the short version, because I'm on overload too at this point. According to her, Jada is the man in that family, not Will, not Will. And basically what it comes down to, she talks about how different young men Alcina was one. Brashear was the other one. Brashear, the boy from Empire. Brashear was the other. And I can't think of the other young man. I don't think I knew who the other young man was, which is probably why I can't remember him. But she talked about how all three of them were ushered to the Smith compound by somebody who works for them, somebody named Charlie, I think she says. The way she tells his story, she makes very clear her belief is, or what the word on the street is, or what is that Will and Jada are super swinging sexual freaks, and that they pull people in for Jada and maybe some for Will, but we're talking about these men right now for their own sexual pleasures. So the influencer said, the interviewer said, for Jada or for Will, she said, well, ain't they one and the same? Didn't you know that? And then she said, what did she say on the Red Table Talk? They said, and then she said the quote that they said, I can't remember what it is, but the point of it was, we ride together, we die together. Something about the marriage being bad, we gonna still die, ride together, something like that. But the point of it is, we in this thing together. We ride until the wheels fall off. Period. Even if it's horrible, we gonna be in it together. She said they told you that to your face. They wasn't the same. So she kind of and she mentioned some drug stuff in it, and the way she tell it, they may have been responsible. Where I understood it is they may have been responsible for some of the issues that Brashear had on set in terms of drug abuse and stuff. It just horrible. And she said, she talked about bad marriage for life. That's right. That was the way they ended bad marriage for life. And she talked about how their kids, she said, but basically, why do you think their kids go through all the issues they go? Because they've seen more than any of us know. But somebody know that they into all kind of shit. I'm like, relax, relate, release. Relax, relate, release. Vita said, get Mike Pence, fly out your house. You see, girl, it's a gnat. If I can't get rid of it. You see him? Mike Pence or Trump, it's all the same thing. It's all the same thing. So, all right. She called Sean Puffy Cone. She called him Honeycomb. She said, because he's so sweet. She talked about him being a maniacal manipulator. She talked about how he kept goons around. I told you what the process was for attaining and acquiring talent, or no, non-talent, so that he can have what he wants from them people. He even went into, and I can't get into all that because I didn't finish the videos about this, but she even talks about Kim Porter. She talks about Aaliyah and that whole thing with R. Kelly. She said from what she knows, she said there are probably 25 R. Kellys in the industry. That's why they ain't telling nobody. Because there's so many of them. She said what he's done has been so regular and so normal that, he only one of many, but ain't nobody gonna tell nothing because they all been involved. She said that he killed Kim Porter over her new book. Yeah, that's basically what she said. She sure did. I was like, I'm telling you, this shit is heavy. Heavy. Okay, you will get the joke when you look at your Facebook page. Okay. it must have been on there too. This shit is heavy. So I'm gonna leave it there, and I'm just gonna tell y'all this. Out of all the videos that I've seen come across about Jaguar Wright in the last 2 months or so, honestly, I only watched maybe 20% of them. So she is talking, right? So here we go. Here's my questions. What do you think is truly going on with Jaguar Wright? Have you seen any of the footage yourself? We talked about that, okay? Does she appear to be having a nervous breakdown? I wondered about that. I've known some people who ain't quite right, right? And I wondered about that. Or is this simply another uncovering of another wretched institution that we have been succumbed to, we have been under? Vita says she thinks she's fed up. Oh, I think she's fed up too. Tracy says she also said where she lives and that she sure did. She said it, and she keeps saying, she says over and over, you don't like it, or you don't believe it, or you don't like what I'm saying, then sue me. And then she says, I live in Texas. And she said over and over, I tell y'all know exactly where I live, or we can get it. You can meet me. I ain't scared of none of y'all. And I live in Texas so I can carry. That's why I'm here, But I tell you where I am. She said, if you want to meet me, and then she'll give there are two airports that she mentioned. You can meet me at such and such airport, or you can meet me at the other one. It don't matter to me. Just let me know when, if that's what you want to do. I'm ready for it, if that's what you're gonna do. She said, because I'm gonna say what I have to say. It is what it is. Corey said, I have a headache. Thank God I have no talent in the arts. It's a lot. Tracy said, I don't think anything is wrong with her. I think she's burning down the industry, like she said. I didn't hear her say burning down the industry, but I think that's what she's doing. Tracy, so here's the thing. In terms of her being crazy, I don't know. She dragged a judge too. What judge? Oh, yeah, the judge, her judge. Yes, she did. Ooh, did she drag her? I was raised by a military dad. I ain't scared. Yes, she did say that. I'm thinking about, like I said, she has some of the tendencies of somebody who might be manic to me. I've seen manic. My father was manic. I've seen it in some other people. Here recently, I've seen it in some other folks. So she kind of feel like that to me. It looks like that to me. It feels like that to me. But at the same time, I also believe, and I know that we are in a dispensation where I believe God is uncovering all that is ungodly and unjust. If you look at, every major institution, he is just pulling the covers off. It's like, it's just like this. Just if people have been, if there are, did y'all see on I just saw this last night. I said, God, do y'all know that I'm not surprised about the findings. I'm surprised that it's on TV as a class action suit. That they're bringing a class action suit against the Boy Scouts of America for molestation of little boys. Did y'all know that? When I saw that, I said, this thing is, it reminds me of the scriptures that we heard when we were kids. One of the things that we always taught is everything that's done in the dark will come to light. I heard that, and I heard it. That was pretty much it. I heard it. But I'm telling you, in these days that we're living in, these past 3, 4, 5 years, I've seen a whole lot of them scriptures come to pass. And one of the things is exactly this. He is uncovering all that which is ungodly. I really believe it. This is another industry. We've always heard about the bacchanalia that has taken place, that has controlled the music industry. We've always heard that, but it seemed like it was just a conspiracy because nobody come from the inside talking about it. But I know I've heard the stories over the years. I've heard the stories about, we've heard about those seances and private parties that are really orgies, and the trickery of of how they get people involved, and how they get people what do you call it, how they get people compromised. She talks a lot about that. She talked about one thing. She said, I see your text. I'm gonna go to them in just 1 second. One thing she said was, she talked about how the men would oftentimes take a cup, put an agent on their lip that will knock somebody out. So we're talking about something like a roofie, or if not a roofie itself, right? Put it on their lip, and then ask a young woman at one of those parties, could they have a sip of her drink? When she gave them the sip, they would do this, hand the cup back to him. And when the girl got the shit on her lip, she passed out. She said, next thing you know, she said, she wake up in a bathtub, having been done by 5 or 6 men or more. She says this was the regular. This is the regular practice. The regular practice. That was just one example of the misogyny that she said take place on a regular basis. So for me, I feel like it's just another uncovering of another industry. We have seen it in the church, big time. We ain't seen all that we gonna see. But let me just say this. Let me go here with the church, which is really interesting. But I mean, everything is stopped. But this is interesting to me. There was so much of that stuff coming out. There's another guy I follow on YouTube. His name is Dawson. The name of his channel is Dawson Speaks. He has 2 channels, Dawson Speaks and Dawson. It don't matter. Dawson Speaks is the main one. He is a guy like myself, was raised in church, like some of you was raised in church. I want to say the Koji church. Like myself, has become a very critical thinker of it. So he's eating the meat, spitting out the bones, and has become critical enough that he is crying loud and saving no one. So he reports typically on church scandal. That's typically what he report on. The stuff that I hear on a regular basis, regular, I can look at him at least twice a week. He's got a new report at least twice a week of the horrible. Oh, Vita says she know Dawson. Horrible stuff that go on in the church. Horrible. And I mean on a regular. Like I said, I can get at least 2 videos a week. And he's a good reporter too. He's by profession, he's a social worker. That's why that kind of thing interests him. But just watching Dawson let me know that it's regular in the church. This shit is regular. But what's interesting to me is they can't gather no more. They can't get together for the most part. They can't get together for all that shit they was doing. And I think it's interesting that during this time that we are away from each other, that we are separated. This is, I think, the time that people are going to realize that they're going to find new ways to meet God. Right? They're going to develop relationships that are strictly vertical and not horizontal. And I think it's a fabulous thing. So we've seen it in the church, we've seen it in education, and I'm not even talking about this pandemic, but this has shown us a lot that we didn't know about. I mean, or we had an idea about, or may have hinted at, but the disparities in education. That shit has been exposed. But even before then, there was so much scandal. When I moved to Atlanta and started working, right when I first started working, they were coming off a scandal that had rocked, that they found that everybody, including that the superintendent, was ahead of it. The whole testing scandal that caused them to actually put teachers in jail. When I went, they were starting an investigation. When I left Atlanta, they were completing investigation and jailing principals and teachers. And the superintendent died of cancer before they could put her in. Ain't that something? Then I came back to Michigan. They were doing the same stuff here. So I know this ain't they ain't just the places I've gone. So you got education, you got church, you got arts and entertainment, you got politics. We can keep going. We can keep going. But all these institutions, we have seen major overhaul. Well, they ain't overhaul like they're going to be overhauled, but it's coming. But we've seen major exposure. And I think, even though there may be something going on, some kind of manic stuff that possibly is going on with Jaguar, she is also being the tool who, in all her courage and maybe rage or whatever she's feeling, is not afraid to cry loud and save no one. Tracy said he better than Larry Reed. Yes and no. Larry Reed, Larry real silly. And I like Larry. I actually became Larry. I'm actually a Patreon. I'm on his Patreon. And I just did it. I've never done that before, but I've done it because of where Larry went, where he's gone with his platform, and where I want to go. And I know that I believe that you should sow into people, sow into folk, especially if you want to glean, right? So for that reason, I just became a patron of Larry Reed's last week. He's different than Larry Reed. He's very he's serious. Yeah, he ain't gonna do very much laughing and giggling at all. He will do a little bit, but I mean a little bit. He reports that information. He comments on it, and he don't mince no words about it. I like Dawson a lot. So yeah, Larry is different. When I sit down and listen to Larry, but he's a learned man. He's very knowledgeable. But when I listen to Larry, 70% of it, is really good stuff. And the other might be good, but he's just silly. He's just really, really silly, and he's silly a lot. So that's neither here nor there. And then Vita says Dawson and Denise. That's the other channel. Yep, that's his sister, Denise. Dawson and Denise. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a good one. So if you have not, if you ain't up on that Jaguar stuff, y'all might want to check it out if you haven't done it, but you got to have some time, and you don't want to do it when you are already stressed out or whatever, because it's a lot. It's just like Corey said, her head was bothering. Yeah, your head might be bothering you. You got to really be in the mood for that. But it's interesting. I'm interested to see how this plays out. But I do think that she's being used, and when I say used, I mean I think she's being used by higher power. I really do. I think she's being used. I really do. I don't think, I'm not sure. I'm not saying that there's something else going on. I'm not saying that there isn't a possibility that she, I don't know, maybe I want to say like that maybe she could have an ulterior motive. What's interesting is she already said that she had a book coming out, but I'm not sure what's going to be in the book, because she's telling everything, seemed like to me. I don't know what she holding back. I said, what could be in the book that she ain't telling? I mean, I can't imagine. What could she say except maybe the color of somebody's panties, or maybe the color is and who cares about that? I mean, she said so much. I don't know what else there's for her to say, but she said she's got a documentary, she said, coming out. So I can't even honestly say, that's her ulterior motive, she's trying to get people for a documentary. No, I don't think that's it. Talking too much for that. So I think that she's being used, I think that she Esther for such a time as this. I do. So, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for hanging out with me. This has been good. I have enjoyed it. I'm gonna just backtrack real quickly. So we talked about the PLANdemic, SHAMdemic. Pictures. What you mean, Millie? Tell me what you mean by that. And having that exit plan, and it sounds like everybody on here has an idea about an exit plan. That's a wonderful thing. If you have more, like I said, I'm gonna meet one of the one lady from one family, or at least one woman from the 19 families who are opening, who are preparing for that city in Georgia. When I get that information after the Zoom tomorrow, I'm gonna share that with you all in case you all may be interested, because I know that the discussion is going to have to do with the possibilities for to invest. So I will share that with y'all. Yeah, I had a good time too. I will share that information with y'all. We are still headed to Gambia in February. If you are interested in that, get with me, because Corey and I are still we on track to go, and my family, of course. We are on track to go. If we can, we're going. Currently, the borders are open. And tomorrow morning, I have an appointment to renew my baby's passports. So we're on track to go in February if God say the same. And if things change and we can't, then we're going as soon as we can go. But if you're interested in that, get back with me on that. So there are several things that I just kind of been looking at, opportunities that I want to share with those who are close to me for business, for investment, or for some kind of opportunity. So ownership, I'm sorry, some kind of ownership. So I want to make sure that I share that information with you all. And if you all have any information, share it with the rest of us. If you got something else that'll help us fashion our lives, in the way that we want to see it in the future, out on the other side of this pandemic. If you got something that's going to cause our help us to plan for afterglow instead of aftermath, share that with us. Please share the stream. I appreciate y'all. I had a wonderful time. Oh, and I got a giveaway. I like giving silver. Tracy, did you get your earrings? I put your earrings in the mail. I put it yesterday, so you might not get them. Might not have them. I can't lie. She said, Millicent said maybe the book has pictures. Not a book. I thought it was a book. No, it's a documentary. A documentary got to have a whole lot of pictures. That's a good point. Now that's a good point. Girl, I'm scared to see some of that stuff though. Good God Almighty. Because I'm gonna tell you, that R. Kelly thing had me weak. See you later, Trey. Did you get your earrings? Let me know. That thing had me. I'm telling you, I had nightmares of that R. Kelly shit. And I made my 16-year-old watch it just because I wanted her to know. I wanted her to see how easy it is for people to get pulled in, for girls to get pulled in unexpectedly, But she was like, oh my God, I gotta keep watching. Yes, watch it. Watch every bit of it. Yes. So, all right, giveaway. I got a giveaway. So we'll do it the same way we normally do it. Put a number in the box. I'm gonna put a number on this paper, and then you put a number in the box, and then I will hold up the number. And the person who has a number closest to that will win the giveaway. So I have my number. Please put a number in the box, and we can give this goodie to somebody. Tracy, don't you want to put it before you go? If you ain't gone, put a number in the box. Put a number in the box. Put a number in the box. Okay, no, between 1 and 100. Number between 1 and 100. I should have said that. Okay, I got 5 from Life Her Way. Tracy, put a number in the box. If you get this, because God wants you to have it, I guess. Put a number in the box. All right. So I got 5. I got 12. I need one from Corey and one from Trace. If you get it this time, you on a lucky streak. We can't be mad at that. All right. So Trace, I don't know if Sonny is still here. If he is, put a number in the box. One more, Tracy. I see you still ain't put a number, Corey. I still don't see your number either. So I'm gonna wait a minute. I enjoyed y'all tonight. I really did enjoy it. Going once. I only see 2 numbers. That's Vita and Millie. Going once. Going twice. 3 times, lady. All right. Okay, there it is. Corey, I put in 41. Do you see it? I see it now. All right, so we got 41. Tracy, I don't see yours. I think you're trying to be smart ass. Okay, there you go. All right, so I got 5, 12, 41, and 65. And the number is 28. Can you see that? 28. So who that get? Who that is? 28 would be 12, I think. Y'all help me. Math is not my thing. So no, it's probably 41. Is it 41? I think it's 41. It is 41. 41. So 41 is Corey Howell. Corey, you won. You won. All right. So here is. See that? Topics, tantrum, and tea. You see that? It's a mouse pad. It's a mouse pad. Because you said it's Millie. Where is Millie? 12. Is it okay? I'm gonna figure this out when I get up there. If it's whoever it is, they getting it. So that's it. Mouse pad. So y'all see my logo? Is it cute? I wanted the face to be a little more chunky and the arms be a little rounded, a little more rounded. And my kids told me, leave it alone, mama. You're gonna mess something up. I was like, but I let both of them vote and they told me to leave it. So there we are. All right. So Corey said it's her. I'm gonna figure out for sure. Whoever it is, one of y'all gonna get it. I'm gonna let y'all know. I'm gonna do the math because my mind right now, I can't depend on it because I put 2 extended shots of that Southern Comfort and it's doing a little more than I thought it was going to do. Thank y'all so much. Love y'all to life. I promise you I do. I look forward to. I gotta give through now. Well, maybe I do. Maybe I do. If it's a tie, I will. So I will definitely work on that. I'll figure that out. I am so glad y'all came by. Please do me a favor and share the stream. The last time I looked, I think we had I want to say 340, I think, in terms of subscribers. I'll check it out for sure. But I'm excited about that. And I told y'all 2 of those videos have more than 2,000 hits. So thank y'all. Thank y'all for helping. I appreciate y'all. Have a wonderful rest of the week. Be safe. And I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday night. Talk to you soon.